Hey, it's Gavin. Oh, I thought about doing a video log and doing video logs, and I think I want to work from here backwards. Just saying that makes me think about this idea that God is here and now. And so when you watch this, what's happening here and now will be disconnected from God. Hmm, I don't know. Makes me think when you read the Bible, right? Is the Bible disconnected? And maybe you would, um, in order for it not to be disconnected, I would have to receive from God. I would have to allow God to flow through me. So supposedly there's only one Elohim, there's only one God that is omniscient across space and time. You know, uh, so that's the God. That's the God which I want to flow through me. I listened to Chad earlier, and he wanted to share information about brotherhood, fraternity, and immediately when he said this, I thought about Jonathan. And so I know people on the internet, right? And Jonathan mentioned uh, the different kinds of love according to the Greek language, one being philia or brotherly love. And Chad mentioned an early definition of fraternity, which was connected to having the same father. And that reminds me of the King's Prayer, which starts, Our Father in heaven, with the hallowed name, with the holy name. Even his name is holy. This would be the one which is omniscient and omnipotent, which I think is loving everything into existence all the time. And when we gather, when two or more gather, when two or more gather in his name, something happens. And that seems like philia. So I've been doing that, and it's pretty new to me, and it's been very helpful. So I've been doing uh, philia with uh, with Chad the alcoholic regularly. He invited me to pray with him regularly at like 4 a.m. Central Time. And if you invite me to do things, there's a chance I'll say yes. I think that's how God works, is God is inviting us. And so I like to be someone who will say yes to the invitation. And so that what emerged from that is something like a brotherhood, a philia, And it started off with a trust building exercise where we sent letters to each other. And it started off before that just on YouTube. It was funny. There's a guy named Garrett who I work with. I told him about Chad the alcoholic on the internet, and his response was, "You did many things that I tell my daughter she should not do." So there's that. Talking to strangers on the internet, sending them letters so they know your address. So yeah, this is a perhaps a dangerous, potentially dangerous activity if done the wrong way, and this is why there has to be trust, a way of earning trust bi-directionally. And so yesterday, let's see, yeah, I went to church yesterday. I went to the 4:30 service, and I've been doing phone tag with someone at the church named Brian, and I let him know that I was going to be up there with the family, and so I met him before church, and so he was able to see that I'm not exactly just a weirdo on the internet. He got to meet my wife and my children, and so I think that kind of thing helps build trust. I actually have a wife who loves me, and I have children who love me, and there's something like know them by their fruit, and I have a beautiful, wonderful wife and children, family. And it's not perfect. There's always room for improvement. And at church, the reason we went to the 4:30, two reasons. One of the reasons is they are doing church and movies for 3 weeks. And so you go to church, and then the pastor did some scene from Jesus Revolution, and then was able to, bye bye, I love you. Boom, boom. Y'all be nice for mama.
What are you doing?
I'm making a little video.
Oh.
If you wanted to wave to the camera, you can. If you want to stay off, you can. Hello. I love you. Have fun at piano.
You too.
I love you.
Love you too.
Be nice for mama, please.
Okay.
All right. Y'all are on the mic, on a hot mic.
Okay.
I love you.
Love you.
Just say.
Okay.
That was staged. I paid those. I paid those people to say they love me. um, and so movies, movies at church, Jesus Revolution. My wife and I seem to tear up and cry at every service, but we do that for Pixar movies too. But it was good. So we were encouraged to maybe not go to the 9:45, so we went to the 4:30. But also they have a growth track. They have an onboarding. The first Sunday of every month is step one, and then the second Sunday is step two, and the third Sunday is step three. They feed you and your kids and take care of your kids. And so we've done step one last month. That was before I made my decision to commit my life to Jesus. Step two, step one was an introduction to the church. Step two is something like a test for your personality, your leadership style, your spiritual gifts. And so next week we'll probably do a step 3. That's the plan. But you never know what happens. Yesterday my wife's uncle died, and it's sad for his wife. She's now a widow, and his children who are older, so that's good that, my mom died when I was about to turn 3 years old. So he lived, Uncle Rich lived for a while. If we were part of a fraternity, we would have been part of the fraternity of um, being competitive, sometimes being a dick, and his name was Richard, so he's also, he could be a dick. One time he was a dick to me, but I've been a dick to people. And it's all in jest, it's never mean spirited. Well, it wasn't mean spirited toward me, and I don't, it's very rare that I'm mean spirited toward people. But like Uncle Rich, I went with him up to the gym, to the private club, and we worked out together. He played football in college, Colorado, in Colorado. I guess there's a Colorado State University he played. His name was Richard Maureen. So y'all pray for his family. I'm a part of his family, but I didn't live with him. I spent the night under his roof a couple of times, and he was always nice. Even the time whenever I said he was being a dick, he's just trying to have fun, and play. I could tell you the story. We were in Steamboat Springs, Colorado with the family. First time I met him. He's got he's 3 kids. They're all really good at skiing. And my wife's family are from Colorado. And I'm just learning. I got a story about this too, about just learning. But I'm sitting there in the snow, and Uncle Rich I don't even think that Kim and I were married yet. But Uncle Rich comes down the hill, and he comes in and he just sprays me with powder, just right in the face. On purpose. He like sprays me and he looks back with this oh shit eating grin. That's Uncle Rich. God bless him. We'll miss you. I love Uncle Rich. And I've done stuff like that. And I've got worse stories than that, like things I've done. So just trying to have fun, a little playful spirit, being a little selfish. Um, got to be careful with those playful spirits. Man, there's a chilly breeze coming back off of this thing. I could get over here, get a little wind block. Whew. In Christianese, there's a phrase called backsliding. And the first time I ever went to a ski resort, I wanted to snowboard. And cousin Alex, my wife's cousin, he he's got stories, and I've got stories with him. But I was the boyfriend, and I was with the other boyfriend. My wife has a sister. We wanted to snowboard, and Alex was going to teach us. And so we went up the lift, and he's just like, go. And I ended up going down this hill. It was like a blue. It was the blue that went underneath the main lift at Steamboat Springs, Colorado. And I end up on my back, looking uphill, backsliding. And in Christianese, there's this thing called backsliding, where, you know, the way I've heard it is maybe you committed your life to Jesus, and then somehow You lost your way. And so maybe you're at towards the top of the hill and you're sliding away from Jesus. And so, yeah, I actually have a story about backsliding, which kind of connects with that phrase backsliding. And if you're ever backsliding, it's actually pretty scary because you can be backsliding very fast. Um, if that path were to curve, you could backslide right off the cliff. Pretty scary, pretty dangerous, and you can get going really fast if you're backsliding on snow with some slick um, snow gear. And I ended up just, I would dig my heels in with my snowboard as I'm backsliding, just trying to slow down, just digging my heels in, which makes me think about my life of digging my heels in. There's the cat. Come on, Taily. Come on, Taily. So we had a kitten show up. There she is. My neighbor calls her Walkie Talkie and Jabberjaws, but the kids call her Taily. You can sit down. Did they feed you? I don't think they fed you. Oh man, they didn't feed you. Oh man. All right, let's feed the Taily. All right, guys, enjoy the view for a minute. Do you take the bag to the bowl or do you take the bowl to the bag? Let's grab the bowl. I got your bowl. I'll get your bowl. Snoopy. I'll get your bowl. The kids forgot to feed you. No, you stay. You're outside cat. Come on. Got the feeding the feeding the kids cat. Come here. You want to eat right here? Come here. Come here, Taylor. Get on camera. Help me get some views. Come on. Oh man. Our Father in heaven with the holy name. Even his name is holy. Thy kingdom come, thy will be done on earth as it is in heaven. Give us this day our daily bread. And so the bread, it's more than just the thing you put in your mouth. And then how do you do God's will? I'm going to this thing last night at church where they test my spiritual gifts. They test my personality, my leadership style, and it's all for me. They didn't want it. I didn't give it to them. And I'm thinking, I've been learning and growing for a long time. I've been solving the world's problems for over a decade in my mind. Like I've been intentionally doing things for multiple decades with a lot of success. And so, I want to be tech support for Jesus. I want to I want to build and maintain good technology for Jesus. But the church already has these places for people to serve. It's a mega church, but I think all churches are like that. They have roles for people, but I don't feel like they have a role for me. It's like I know my spiritual gifts. I know my personality. I know my leadership style. I know my weaknesses. I I know God. That's the good news, right? The good news is we can know God. And it's really helpful having two or more gather in his name trying to know God together. And I've been doing that with my wife. And so when you talk about brotherhood, it's like I've been meeting my wife in the morning. We're practicing doing this together. And we've done it unintentionally throughout our marriage. We've been married since 2008. But we would have long periods of time where we would not come together and seek to know God together and grow together. But we're doing it regularly every day. And it's very nice. And it's because, you know, Brother Wes and Brother Chad invited me into a relationship. Thank God for that. Come here, Taylor. Come here. Come here. Up here. Come on. There you go. Let's get comfortable. And so Brother Chad asked me, I was telling him, I'm like, I feel like when I'm getting close to God, I feel like I'm on a mind altering substance. It's better than any mind altering substance. And he asked a question like, is it coming easier? And I told him, I said, it's coming easier because of you, because we're doing it together. And then I talked to Brother Jason, who's in Tasmania, and he's like, well, imagine if we had an entire city of people, of brothers and sisters, worshiping our Father, where we make sure uh, everyone's strengths and weaknesses and purpose, everyone's being fulfilled. Imagine us all doing it together. And so, yeah, I'm coming in I'm coming into these relationships sometimes a little bit hot, a little bit impatient, a little bit fast. And it's like, hey, I've been given solutions to the problems. Some of them solutions are wrong. Many of them have been wrong. And what you want with people who solve problems is you want them to be able to quickly admit when they're wrong. That you want problem solvers who, don't treat their solutions like a baby, whether it's their child that they are invested in. That would be idolatry. You want problem solvers who are humble, who know that they make mistakes and are grateful for your feedback. So I'd come in hot. Could you imagine? Just imagine, I'd ask my wife, I said, what would you do if you were me? So first of all, you have to know me, and my wife knows me better than anyone else. And it's like, maybe I could talk to Brian and let him know that the website and the app, mobile phone app, have problems, and I'd be interested in making sure that they didn't have problems. If I come in hot, I could say, hey, I want to try to be the chief technology officer. That's me coming in hot. I've done that. Or I could come in and say, hey, let me help so you can get to know me. That's a patient move. But, I don't fit into these little boxes of what the church has. There's a lot of people like that. God made it that way. It's part of the plan. It's part of the plan that God's church is not perfect. It's part of the plan that everybody is making mistakes, that nobody's got it figured out yet. It's part of the plan. It's part of the plan that God doesn't need me. I got all these answers to problems. Like, literally, we could increase the amount of peace on earth, and I can help. Like, I know I can help. And God doesn't need me. So, God has given me a lot of the spiritual gift is discernment, craftsmanship. I've got some wisdom, but discernment and craftsmanship are up there. And what's interesting is that the heads of the bodies lack discernment. So I've got a head in this body that has discernment. And what I'm saying is that the heads of the bodies throughout the world, not just individuals, but everybody, including governments and churches and nations, every organization throughout the world lacks discernment. Well, there's one organization that does not lack discernment, and that would be uh, Satan, the kingdom of Satan. They don't lack discernment. They actually have very good discernment. God created that enemy for us. And we don't want to value discernment above everything else. But we need to value discernment. And the people, the brothers and sisters, the brothers and sisters have different spiritual gifts. So we have different blind spots. And those who have the most discernment see things that other people don't see. And so throughout history, we've never had, and I'd hate to say never, got to be careful with these words, but throughout history, Everybody has had blind spots. And the number of times that somebody has discernment and is uplifted, the number of times that somebody has discernment and is uplifted is limited. And so I can go work for a company with my spiritual gifts and I can help that company make money. So whether I'm helping with missile defense, which I did for 6 years, or helping with banking software, which I did for 3 years, or helping with reputation management for the largest corporations in the world, which I've been doing since 2018. What would you call that? Reputation management is more than that. It's distributed cognition. It's cognitive outsourcing. I've been doing that with a company since 2018. And there's different, even that company, they aren't a brotherhood it's not the brotherhood who has the Our Father. Part of that brotherhood is concerned with the stakeholders and the board members and, you know, are we going to go public and are we going to sell the company? But I've learned a lot of things along the way, working for missile defense and banking and healthcare and distributed cognition, cognitive outsourcing, uh, sense making. This whole thing I've been doing is sense making. Like all these companies that I'm a part of and all the technology I've been helping to build is part of sense making. It's information technology. But nobody that I've worked for has been aiming to serve God. And so that's where I want to work for the brothers and sisters who are the children of God. I want to build technology for them, for us. And those people have blind spots. Those people have blind spots which prevent them from seeing the things I see. And we can solve that problem too. And we need to solve that problem. I called it the human resource problem. How do you know who I am? How do you know who I am? How do you know how trustworthy I am? How do you know my strengths and weaknesses? How do you know where I should fit? How do you know my role? How do you know which responsibilities you should give me? This is a very important problem that the church has not solved. The church I'm attending, they're giving people a job to do, but the question is would they allow someone to come in and do something new? So that's my hope, is that I can come in and do something new. My hope is that uh, I could make the website better and the app better, and I could develop a protocol by which the software could be shared, made open source, open protocol. Then you can have the integration of the churches. Right now we have a disintegrated church. Our brothers and our sisters are disintegrated. How do you take each individual with their unique personality, leadership style, and spiritual gifts and put them where they belong in the church, in the kingdom? And then God told me he don't need me. So it's an important problem to solve. It can be solved, and I'm not needed to solve this problem, but I'm pointing at how you do it. And Satan and Satan's kingdom has been doing it already. Satan has led many people to build many useful tools to solve important problems, And we can, when we overthrow Satan's kingdom, we shouldn't be afraid to repurpose the fruit from Satan's kingdom into God's kingdom. And this is part of the plan. So people want to hate on capitalism, for example, but there's fruit which comes out of capitalism, which can be repurposed to serve God. Anyways, last night at church, my son, I think he said he ate 5 pieces of pizza. And so it was about midnight last night. And he comes down and he done puked all in the bed. And my wife, she gets up and she's helping and she comes back down. I thought I might be able to sleep through it, to be honest. She comes down and she's like, I need your help. And so it's good to ask for help. And she has a weak stomach. And so I went up there and I was able to do a lot of dirty work. And I think that's what Jesus has for me is doing dirty work. Bunch of dirty work. Work nobody else wants to do. The thing is the work that nobody else wants to do. Maybe nobody else can do. Nah, that's not right. But the dirty work, the work that nobody else wants to do, the reason they don't want to do it is because they don't think it's important. Fixing the website, fixing the app, um, building and using an open protocol so that there can be an integration of the churches, uh, allowing for the harvest, allowing for more seed to be sown, and such that there can be a bountiful harvest. Serving the servants. That's the kind of the thing I'm attracted to right now is serving the servants. Well, I think I'm going to go start my day. I feel very close to God. Imagine how this cat feels. There's a warm hug, a full belly, satisfied. Don't let the mind be your master. Let God be your master. Let Jesus be your master, the one who wants to go after all the lost sheep, all the sick, the one who wants to save everyone. And then put your mind to work. So a lot of these things that Satan can use, like the mind, they can be repurposed. So yeah. And when you do that, the amount of peace that's available is amazing. So don't hang up the phone on God. Start your prayer and try not to hang up the phone. Just continue praying and find someone else that you can do the philia, brotherly, sisterly love with. There's a lot of people out there who's seeking God, and you can find someone who wants to seek God with you, where you're not ashamed to talk about what you're struggling with, where you try to be humble, try to have the faith of a mustard seed. Um, Learn, make mistakes, and learn, and you'll get there. I think you'll be able to find peace. It's available to everyone. It's a kind of peace that is where I think it's the kind of peace where you could be starving to death and you can have peace. You could be strung up on a cross and you could have peace. You can be all kinds of terrible things happen and you can have peace. But I think I need help, and I suspect everyone needs help. And so when two or more gather in my name, that's the that's very important. Some people aren't your brothers and your sisters yet. They're your enemies. And so you can meet with your brothers and sisters to start your day and or end your day. I like it doing it at the start of the day. And then you can be prepared to go love your enemy, which is hard. So let's go love some enemies. You know how the teams, I don't know if you've ever been on a team, but you stick your hands in the middle and you say the name of your team. It's like that's what I feel like doing. All right, kitty cat. Man, you warm. Just warmed up that cat.